In what ways would you make America great? Since launching his campaign for presidential candidacy last May, Bernie Sanders has watched his poll numbers explode. As he stood in the front of the beautiful Vermont waters, he explains that his vision for Americans is to support the people through their given rights. These rights include free college tuition, health care, raised minimum wage, and the environmental transition to clean energy. According to the New York Times, Bernie Sanders has raised over $140 million for his presidential campaign donations. 98% of those campaign donations were donations of $200 or less. And this just goes to show that Sanders is completely honest about how he receives his campaign funding and shows that he will not be taking from banks and corporations unlike other candidates. Paying for college has been a continual struggle in which Americans become more in debt for the higher education they receive. Bernie Sanders wants to create free tuition for college students. He says that in order to create the strongest economy possible, we need the brightest Americans to continue with fulfilling higher education. In addition to free college tuition, Bernie Sanders also wants to provide health care for every person in America. Bernie Sanders believes that health care must be recognized as a right and not a privilege. 29 million Americans today still do not have health insurance, and many are still underinsured. Under Bernie's plan, Americans will benefit from the freedom and security that comes with finally separating health insurance from employment. Bernie's plan will provide all Americans with the same sense of freedom and peace of mind that comes from knowing you will always have access to health care that you need. Furthermore, Bernie Sanders has a goal to raise the minimum wage. And there are so many Americans working full-time jobs who are living in poverty. The current federal minimum wage is considered to be starvation pay, as he says, where most families toil to make ends meet and struggle to feed their children. Bernie Sanders has an excellent plan to eliminate such deprivation by raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour over the next several years. His plan is to make the untouchably rich accountable for their fair share in taxes. So besides free college tuition, equal opportunity health care, and raised minimum wage, Sanders also has a plan to combat climate change to save our planet. Global climate change is real. It is caused mainly by emissions released from burning fossil fuels, and it poses as a catastrophic threat to long-term longevity of our planet. We notice this intensifying impact of climate change through the more frequent hurricanes, forest fires, and damaging floods we've seen throughout the years. Even worse, these catastrophes occur in the parts of our country and in the world where people are living significantly low-income lives. Bernie Sanders plans to change this devastating economic crisis. His plan is to move forward in energy efficiency and sustainability earning energy sources like wind, solar, and geothermal. He says we have a moral responsibility to leave our children a planet that is healthy and habitable. Bernie Sanders is a socialized Democrat. He is full-heartedly supportive of firefighters, teachers, and policemen. And as Americans, we want a president who has a vision and foresight in that sense of right and wrong.